What is up, everyone? And thank you for tuning in to Don't Say the F Word, a pro wrestling and combat sports podcast where we do not use the F word when we talk about professional wrestling. You shouldn't let your friends use it either. It's Friday, December 16th, and we are just a couple hours ahead of a new episode of WWE Smackdown and AEW Rampage later on tonight. Rampage tonight is pre-recorded. They did the show on Wednesday, but as you guys know, I don't put spoilers out there. I do my best to avoid them. I'd rather just enjoy the show whenever I watch it. I don't want to know what's going to happen. To me, I think that kind of ruins a bit of the enjoyment of the show if you're out there looking at the spoilers. And I kind of think people reporting on the spoilers, I don't know. It kills things for fans of pro wrestling. I don't know why people with a platform to report on pro wrestling and give you a preview want to give you the spoilers. To me, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. But we do have want to kick things off. I want to talk about Rampage first. Kind of go a little bit out of order because I just got some things I want to talk about when I get around to talk about SmackDown. Tonight on Rampage, we do have Jon Moxley versus Sammy Guevara. I think that should be a good match. Both guys are really great in the ring. Mox has really made himself the face of AEW. I know a lot of people may argue about Mox being the face, but I think right now, as far as the big names in pro wrestling, the guys kind of carrying the shows, you kind of have Mox carrying things over in AEW. You have Roman carrying things in WWE, and then you have Seth there, just in case you need some backup. And I just think that the Shield's kind of running things in pro wrestling. And I don't really think you can make an argument. I don't think you can. Hey, Mark, you think Mox is running things? Guys, he thinks Mox, not Max, is running things. Yeah, that's not the case. Everything in AEW is coming up MJF. Maxwell Jacob Friedman. And, he's my guy, and Max is my friend. He's better than you, and you know it. I'm furrier than you, and you know it. And Mox is not the man in AEW. He doesn't have Triple B, that big Burberry belt. The MJF has it, and Mox is never going to get that belt again. Okay. All right. Okay, MJF is the champ, certainly the man. But Mox, willing to put the three letters on his back amongst a bunch of nonsense going on backstage and kind of be the guy. So I'm not even the biggest Mox fan, but I'll give the guy his due. I think him and Sammy will have a good match. Mox last week led off Rampage and put together a great match to kick off the hour-long show. I kind of hope maybe that's the thing for a little while. Maybe Mox is the guy to kick Rampage off and really give the show a lot of energy out the gate. So I'm sure him and Sammy are going to put together something good. You have Sky Blue versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. We have the Orange Cassidy, the Best Friends, with Dustin Rhodes against the Butcher, the Blade, Trent Seven, and Kip Sabian. So that's going to be kind of a big 8-man tag. We know that Dustin Rhodes, formerly known as Goldust, he's on the last leg of his professional wrestling career, ideally anyway. He says 2023 will be his last year and he'll be retiring. I think he's had a Hall of Fame worthy career. So I would imagine he goes back to WWE for at least a short period of time. Prior to being inducted into the Hall of Fame or possibly following his Hall of Fame induction, because I would imagine they're going to put him into the Hall of Fame. I think he would be a great asset to either company backstage as a producer, as a trainer, coach, something like that. So it wouldn't surprise me if he went back to WWE to do that. After, Cody's there, probably going to be there for some time, and I would imagine Dustin would like to join his father in the WWE Hall of Fame, and I think it's very well deserved. I think the career he's had, I think the run with Goldust, I think Goldust is a character in pro wrestling that really, had some reinventions here and there and had some different things that were not everyone's cup of tea, but his body of work in the ring, his match with Piper at WrestleMania, what he did with the Intercontinental title, I just think all that stuff was great. I think, maybe that character, the way it was initially portrayed, was mildly offensive or severely offensive in some cases. But I think the body of work that he put together was so good that I really do believe Dustin Rhodes deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. We also have Wardlow will be in action. And then we're going to have Jim Ross sitting down with Preston Vance, formerly known as 10 in the Dark Order. And today, John Huber, Mr. Brody Lee, would have been 43 years old. So happy birthday. Somewhere in a wrestling ring, a different universe. So hopefully this Preston Vance interview is done in a way that's very tasteful and not done in a way to get cheap heat. I think that would be really unnecessary. I think that just the thing they did with 10 and -1 was actually kind of unnecessary, because it's not like you're going to build Preston Vance, and formerly 10, into this amazing heel. So to have him do something, utilize -1 and kind of playing into that, and that just seemed really unnecessary unless they were going to abandon the Dark Order as a whole. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Just seems to not really have any direction right now. But with the prospect of that, I'm gonna turn this one actually directly over to Mark. He doesn't have to interrupt me. He's currently invited. Mark, I know you have a message. Listen here, 10 or Preston Vance. You better mind your P's and Q's in this JR interview, because if you speak ill of Mr. Brody Lee, everyone's going to be really mad at you, and people will probably throw soda and popcorn at you next time you come to the ring. So be respectful. Very well put, Mark. Very, very well put. I think they got some decent matches lined up for Rampage. I think they do a very good job with that show for having it be very action-packed for the hour that it is. I think it's timed well. I just don't know that they do a lot to really progress storylines. I think they could probably do more story-wise, but I do think they put together great matches. I don't know. I remember hearing that Tony Khan was going to do these live more, as opposed to having them be pre-recorded so often. I hope that that's the case as we go into 2023. I think that it'll be important for them to be live. I think it makes it feel like it's more of a must-see program than having it be pre-recorded. I think the pre-recorded nature, people tend to look for the spoilers that I won't talk about. I think people kind of ruin the moment for themselves by going out there to look at the spoilers, and they determine whether it's what they want to watch. I do get it to a degree, but at the same time, if you're a fan of pro wrestling, I'm not sure why you would look at a show and consider you may not want to see it. If you enjoy pro wrestling, you enjoy the product that you're watching, you enjoy the characters that you get to see, why wouldn't you just want to see it when it happens? I mean, any movie that comes out as it hits theaters, you can always look and see the plot line, and people will give you that information. I mean, how many people go out of their way to do that? If a new Marvel movie comes out, are you hopping online to see the whole plot of the movie and just know the entire thing and then deciding whether you want to go and see it, or do you just want to go and enjoy it and just enjoy the experience? And that's kind of how I look at pro wrestling. That's why I avoid the spoilers. That's why if I miss a show, something's going on and I can't catch it live, I try to not see anything about it until I've had the opportunity to watch it. So I will, if I have something going on Monday night and I don't get to watch Raw, I generally wake up early Tuesday morning and catch it before anything else. Or I try to I will go dark and I will avoid any information until I see it. Because I want to experience the story like I was supposed to. It's how I was supposed to get the info. It's how I was supposed to see it, is seeing it for the first time and being able to then come on here and give my reaction to it real time. Now, there are times where I watch a match a couple times because it was so enjoyable, but for the sake of stories, you're supposed to get it and then react. It's not supposed to be, I got it, I've watched it 4 times, I've played it back, I've done all these things. That's not what it's supposed to be. I don't think the product's really meant to be like that. With that all being said, I want to talk about WWE Smackdown tonight. Smackdown hasn't been a bad card in a while. There's been some spots that haven't necessarily been for me, but all in all, man, Smackdown's pretty damn solid. What I know ahead of time, we have a triple threat tag match. We got Top Dollar and the rest of Hit Row versus Viking Raiders versus Escobar and his crew. I can't remember the name of the team now. Sorry. We got Damage Control versus Liv Morgan. But the match for me, this is what sticks out for me. And this is really the big thing is we're getting Gunther and Ricochet. I don't think Ricochet is going to pull off an IC title win. Everything does look like Gunther's probably going to be facing Brock at Mania, but I don't think we're taking the IC title off of him right now. Maybe at Rumble. They might take it off at Rumble. I kind of hope not. But I think we're probably going to see a really good performance here from Ricochet. I think he's been getting a lot of good time on SmackDown, and I think he's really getting an opportunity to kind of showcase what he should have been showcasing on the main roster anyway. I mean, Ricochet's run in NXT was really good. He really got to show what kind of a star he's able to be. I think that kind of David versus Goliath situation of Gunther versus Ricochet, it should showcase a lot of Ricochet's speed and agility, and then have that be countered by Gunther's just size and brute strength. I think that match would be really, really fantastic. The other thing we do know Roman Reigns will be on SmackDown tonight. It's been 3 weeks since we've had Roman on SmackDown. So I don't think Roman's been on SmackDown since Survivor Series. So yeah, it's been about 3 weeks. With that hiatus, I imagine we're going to set up a challenger for Roman to probably defend the titles on SmackDown. Just kind of give us time till Rumble maybe, or maybe throw him in a triple threat match. Sorry, not triple threat, a 6-man tag match with the Usos or something. Something to give Roman. Roman's going to have a match before Rumble. But then probably through that, we'll set up who we will see Roman face. In that, I want to just mention, there's a reason I'm rocking the Chicago Bullet Club hat. SmackDown is in Chicago tonight, guys. First of all, it's going to be curious to see if they mute the crowd, because I would imagine the chance of CM Punk in Chicago at a WWE show at the Allstate Arena are probably going to be deafening. So if they mute the crowd, that'll be it won't be as much fun for us at home. I think if they don't mute the crowd, it'll certainly lead to a lot of content creators speculating that they're letting them chant CM Punk. So maybe there's something happening. I put a video out there kind of teasing the what if, and I just got what if it were to happen? What if Roman comes out to close the show, he cuts his promo, and Living Color's Cult of Personality hits the PA, and Punk comes out and has returned to WWE. Contract buyout took place with AEW, whatever it is they came to, for him to go back to WWE. Could you imagine every YouTuber, every podcaster, every writer, Sean Ross Sapp would lose his mind. Meltzer would probably melt. I think that would be that would break the internet. That would be the internet breaking thing of the year. Forget Cody coming back. Forget everything. If Punk were to return in Chicago to WWE tonight, that would break the internet. Do I think it'll happen? Nah, I don't think it would. But my question is, would anybody actually want it to? Would you want to see CM Punk return to WWE? If there's anywhere for him to go, it's probably WWE at this point. I don't think Tony Khan and AEW really want to part ways with him. I don't think they feel like they got a return on their investment, and the reality is they probably didn't get a return on their investment. I think there were still a lot of stories to be told in AEW with Punk. I think that thing got so messy so fast. I don't know that he could come back to AEW. I feel like that would be a morale killer in AEW. I don't know if it'd be a morale booster for WWE either. But I think WWE has enough people who are very established, I guess, that, if Punk came in there with an ego or an issue, I don't think it would matter to them because I think it's a bit more of a different environment. I think it's very well structured, well organized, very corporate. Versus, I think AEW might be a little bit more laxed in giving talent the opportunity to be creative and do things their way. I think that corporate structure is something that would keep Punk, I don't want to say in check, but I don't have better verbiage than that. So I think if we were to see Punk wrestle anywhere again, it's probably going to be WWE, but I don't know that we get to an agreement where that can happen in a time frame where physically Punk could do it. It's interesting how life imitated art in AEW, where, Punk's whole initial thing, it was very old man Logan-y. I got 2 Marvel references in this podcast, and I'm sitting here, got a Spider-Man stress toy I'm over here messing with. But that's what it was, right? I mean, old man Punk in AEW was just old man Logan, contemplating popping his claws again. Could he still physically do it? Could he hang? Could he do these things? And that question posed in a world of, in the world of wrestling, he posed it in promos as a way to theatrically display the question. Well, we got our answer. We got our answer based in reality. Punk couldn't hang with the guys in AEW. Now, I don't mean he didn't have good matches. I just meant whenever in an attempt to up that physicality level to the level at which guys go in AEW, his body couldn't do it. Moxley said, weak body, fragile mind, fragile ego. That's probably spot on, right? I mean, everything makes us, all the information we have to go with seems like that's the case, right? I also think that there's a voodoo spell on doing the buckshot lariat, and the only person who should be doing it is Hangman Adam Page. But I don't think CM Punk could wrestle in AEW on a full-time schedule for the length of what his contract was in AEW. WWE, it's not that high-impact style. He could probably get away with doing, some safer stuff. Miz has wrestled a WWE safe style his entire career and has not had too many crazy injuries, thankfully for the guy. I mean, I guess the zombies messed his knee up, but I mean, that was stupid. So, I mean, that is what it is. I think if there's a home for Punk in pro wrestling, it's probably WWE, right? But the question is does anyone want to see it? I don't know that I want CM Punk necessarily in my WWE programming either. I think I'm one of those wrestling fans that talk about that. I think we probably like the idea of CM Punk more than we like the execution. You know, the idea of chanting for the guy who was the rebel and all these things was great before we kind of seen the reality of what the guy really was. And I don't think he's the representation of the voice of the voiceless like we all wanted to believe him to be. Maybe the pipe bomb was the first spark in the revolution in pro wrestling. Sure, I guess, maybe. It felt that way when I knew it wasn't a work shoot, when it felt like it was an actual shoot in 2011. Prior to going back and knowing it was a rehash of his Ring of Honor thing. But I don't know if there's a place for him in WWE either. You know, you guys reach out to me on social media. It's at Don't Say the F Word Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. It's the Don't Say the F Word Podcast on YouTube. Let me know. That's my question. Does anybody want to see CM Punk back in WWE? And if so, what do you want to see? What story is there to be told with CM Punk in WWE now? Do you want to see CM Punk and Roman? Do you want to see Punk just come back, do a Rumble entrance, stick around in the Rumble for a minute, get an elimination, maybe a couple pop-ups on Raw, and then bid a farewell? I'd be cool with that. I don't know that I want to see Punk come back and have a feud with Seth, have a feud with Cody. Maybe they could do it well. The guy does cut decent promos, especially if he's pissed. Maybe they could execute that in a way that would be interesting. I mean, Punk and WWE would definitely be interesting. It would certainly be exciting out the gate. I just don't know what you tell long term. What's the long term story? He's a guy who kind of needs a catalyst in WWE. He needs something he's working against. He has to be fighting somebody like an authority figure. Could they maybe bring him back at Rumble and work toward him and Austin at Mania? Give us that match we dreamed of. What was that? WWE 2K13? Where they teased that with that commercial and it just never happened. I mean, we all know they want Austin for Mania again. So maybe CM Punk comes back. Not tonight. Not tonight in Chicago. I'm sorry. Maybe Punk comes back. Maybe they can make it happen at Rumble. And then you can have Punk and Austin at Mania. And then Punk calls it a career. Gets a decent paycheck from WWE. Gets that buyout from AEW. Or does AEW just hold CM Punk's contract hostage so he can't go anywhere else? From a business standpoint, that might be smarter. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in to Don't Say the F Word. Pro Wrestling, Combat Sports Podcast. We do not use the F word when we talk about professional wrestling. I truly appreciate you guys checking us out. Please like, share, subscribe, interact with us on social media. All of it is greatly appreciated. Trying to build a very strong pro wrestling and combat sports community. You know, it's not just WWE and UFC. There's a whole world of indie wrestling. There's a whole world of combat sports out there. There's Grapple Fest. You have Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. There's a lot of things out there if you enjoy combat sports as much as I do. And I appreciate your time checking us out. You guys have a good one.